Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and welcome to the first real official weekly video for the year 2021. And I want to make one note of a big change that's that you're going to be seeing on the channel from now on, hopefully. Thanks to a gift from my wife this past Christmas, we now have professional, well, sort of professional lighting. I got this nice little studio light, as well as another one for Christmas this year. And this should hopefully make our lighting situation in these videos a bit better. I know that's something I've always struggled with in these videos, is having good lighting. At my parents' house out in my old office, I had a great big fluorescent light over the workbench that lit the entire room up quite well, so things were pretty good in there. My bedroom wasn't quite so, but here in my new office, the lighting is not very good. So I'm very thankful that I got this light. You probably saw it in use in my New Year's video. But hopefully it looks okay to you guys. This is a learning process for me, trying to get everything angled properly. And just as a comparison, here it is without the light, and here it is with the light. But anyway, on to the subject of this video, which you've been staring at for the past almost 2 minutes, I suppose. This is a recent laptop acquisition of mine. This is the Dell Inspiron 5150, released sometime around late 2003, early 2004, I would imagine. I bought this at a local Goodwill the other week for only $3, and it only needed a hard drive and some memory. It takes DDR memory. It has a Intel Pentium 4 Hyper-Thread. I believe it's actually a desktop chip, more than likely. Dell was infamous for using those in their laptops back then. Clocked at 3-something gigahertz, I want to say. It's a very hefty Pentium 4 for a laptop. Has 512 megs of DDR1 memory and a 20 gig hard drive. I imagine this laptop probably originally came with a much larger hard drive, but 20 gigs is the biggest I had as a spare, so that's what I'm having to work with right now. I've only got 5 gigs left on it, but I do have a 60 gig hard drive on order from eBay that should arrive at some point, so I will swap that out when I get it. Throughout most of 2004, I was 14 at the time, I was obsessed with owning my own laptop. And I saved and saved all year, and in November of that year I bought a very bottom-of-the-line but very charming at the same time Dell Inspiron 1150, which lasted me about a year before it died. Unfortunately, I really liked that laptop. I was so sad to see it go. But I remember during the process of saving up for that laptop, looking at various Dell Inspiron models that they had at the time, and I remember this being one that I really wanted, because I loved how Dell Inspirons at the time, came in this blue color. The top lid, most of the laptop was silver, but the top lid would be blue. And I thought that was so cool looking, because blue has always been my favorite color, especially this particular shade of blue. And I think these may have come in different colors as well, but I've usually only seen them in the blue color. And the Inspiron 1150, while it had the same chassis and design, it was silver only. It did not have the blue color on it, which was disappointing. But you know, the 1150, I still really enjoyed using it, even if it was a much more boring look. Okay, I've taken it off the tripod so we can take a closer look at the port layout. Here's the right side where we have the battery, which still holds a charge and lasts about 2 hours, I believe, so that's a nice plus there. 56K modem. And right here on the back, we can see we are legacy free, unfortunately, so no PS2, no parallel, no serial. We get our power input, S-video output, 2 USB 2.0 ports, VGA out, 1394 Firewire, which I would have loved to have had back then, Ethernet, and on the left side we get a card bus slot. That's also where the hard drive goes. Headphone out, microphone in, a DVD-ROM/CD-RW drive. And on the inside we see the blue accent continues with the touchpad buttons and the trim around here with the power button and the Dell Access Direct button. And there's our stickers. Originally came with Windows XP, which is running on it right now. And a sticker for the Intel Pentium 4 Hyper-Thread. And overall, this laptop is in very good physical condition. All I had to do with it was just take the price stickers off and Windex it up a little bit and get a little bit of dirt and grime off of it. But overall, this laptop cleaned up quite nicely. Okay, let's power it up. We'll head to the BIOS for the first thing. And we can see this is a 3.6 gigahertz Intel Pentium 4 Hyper-Thread. And the onboard graphics on here is actually very impressive. It's GeForce FX 5200 Go. And I know the 5200 gets a lot of flack, but for a laptop, that's actually not too bad. And we have a 15-inch display, by the way, with a high-resolution graphics. And we'll exit out of there and head on into Windows. Takes a little bit to boot up. It's not the healthiest hard drive, I imagine. And yes, the fan does cut on quite a bit on this laptop for very obvious reasons. Pentium 4s were not known for being the coolest CPUs around. In more ways than one. And here we are into Windows XP. And this does have a high resolution screen. It's higher than 1024 by 768, but I forget what the exact resolution is. The standard back then was 1024 by 768, but this being a bit of a higher end system, it actually has a 1400 by 1050 resolution display. Okay, let's start off with our system properties. Go into our device manager, GeForce FX Go 5200 for video. We have Broadcom Ethernet and Broadcom Wi-Fi, so this laptop does have built-in Wi-Fi, wireless G. I believe it's already connected. Although I do have it connected to Ethernet as well. And it shows 2 Pentium 4s in here, but we all know that since it's hyper-threaded, there's actually no 2 CPUs in there. And Sigmatel audio and all that good stuff. And we'll go into CPU Z. so we can get some more details about how this laptop ticks. I'm not going to bother with an update. Let's see, this is a Northwood Pentium 4. That's actually a good thing because it actually runs a bit cooler than the Prescott, so that's good to have in a laptop. And it's socket 478. Mainboard has a BIOS date of December 10th, 2004. And 512 megs of DDR4 memory. And it's not able to show us anything for the graphics for some reason. Yep, 1 core, 2 threads. And seeing that this laptop came out in 2004, I imagine this would have come with Work Suite 2004, which was what was on my Inspiron 1150. And here's Work Suite 2004. I got a lot of hours out of this, mainly going to Microsoft Word, Word XP, but on this laptop I have Office 2003 installed, so we get Word 2003 instead, if it ever decides to load. I am planning on upgrading the hard drive soon. Spent a lot of hours doing homework and story writing in Word 2002 and 3 on laptops quite similar to this. I just love the overall aesthetic of these old Dell Inspiron laptops from the early to mid 2000s. Just something about them I just really like. I guess because I used several of them back in the day. Okay, we can benchmark it a little bit with some games. Since this has a fairly nice video card for a laptop at the time. We'll start off with Real Mist 3D. I remember my aunt playing this on her Dell Dimension 8200, which I now own. This message is to inform you that a screen resolution lower... Yeah, don't show me that again. I don't care about that. Why did it do that? It really doesn't want to play this, does it? This was a very impressive game for its time. I don't know when it came out. I think it was late 90s, early 2000s. But this is essentially the original Myst game from 1993 remastered. And it's playing it just fine. And just like with the original Myst, I have no idea what I'm doing. I used to get quite far in Myst back in the day, but it was a long time ago, and I don't remember how that was done. But see, it's not dropping any frames or anything, which is good. Can't go in there. One of these days I'm going to sit down and just play Myst for a while and actually play it. And yes, I probably will need a walkthrough. Because it is not 1997 anymore, and I don't remember how to play it. This is a perfect analogy for how people's brains feel when they play Myst. No, you're supposed to raise that ship somehow. And you can play it with the keyboard as well, which is actually a little bit easier. It's like a dentist chair. And I have no idea what this is. I would have known back in the day. Yeah, I need a walkthrough. So there. Okay, let's try something a little bit more taxing for this laptop. Let's try Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which we played recently on the XPS M1210, and apparently I need the CD. That's one thing I forgot to mention. The Cd-Rom drive in this laptop, when I got it, was non-functional. It would only work when I would hold in the when I would push in the drive, and when I would let go, it would stop reading the disk. So I'm borrowing the drive out of my current Inspiron 1150 for the time being, which seems to be working just fine. That's the thing with old computers. The first thing to go is always the CD drive. Let's do a retry. I have not tried this game out yet on here. Now on the XPS M1210 that we played this on recently, it ran very, very well. I do not know how well it will run on here. If this were Intel graphics, it would not run well. But seeing this is an FX 5200, it probably won't run the best, but it'll probably run well enough. That's just my prediction, so we'll see if that's accurate or not. Don't you love it when you can't skip the loading screens? Hear that fan kicking on again. Not the fastest laptop around, but you know, I'm surprised at how well it's running, considering it's a Pentium 4, and Pentium 4s these days usually don't run the best. Okay, the menus are running fine. And let's see, it can only go up to 1024 by 768 on here. So we'll just have to live with that. Well, it still looks pretty good. The Sandbox Mode, I just want to test it out by building a roller coaster and actually riding the roller coaster. See how well it performs graphics-wise. And yeah, I know there's much more better games I could be testing this on. Mainly FPS games, but I don't play FPSs, so yeah, that's that, I guess. hope this laptop doesn't melt. That would be a big mess to clean up. Okay, moving the camera around is pretty good. So let's build us a roller coaster. And we'll do Cosmos. Okay, it is struggling just a little bit right here. Not the worst in the world. We'll just plop it down right there. It's performing about how I would expect it to perform. Not the best, but better than other cards of the day, namely the Intels. Yes, I did used to use those because that's all I could afford back then. But I still got some good use out of it. Well, not really good use, but I learned to live with it, as one does. And it makes you appreciate this stuff better when you do have access to them. Okay, so let's open the coaster and let's hop on. There we go. Just gotta wait for people to get on and we can go. Here we go. I do see a very small hint of screen tearing, but not much though. Did struggle there a little bit. This it's actually performing pretty good. Actually quite impressed. I would have, oh, if I had had this laptop back then when this was new, I would have been so happy. It's a long roller coaster. Hey. So yeah, that ran pretty well. Very impressed with the performance of this laptop. And yes, I do have internet access on here via the Pale Moon New Moon browser. But I do not imagine the internet, today's internet, running reliably well on a Pentium 4. I was able to get by with it on the XPS M1210. But that's a Core 2 Duo, which is a much more efficient CPU compared to a Pentium 4. Okay, that's about all there is to show. I actually really like this laptop. To me, it's like a much beefier version of the Inspiron 1150, a laptop that I've cherished for over 15 years now. 16 actually, and this feels like what the 1150 could have been if I'd spent a little bit more money back in 2004. But I really like this laptop. I just love, like I said, I just love the aesthetic that these early to mid 2000s Dell Inspirons have. Just something about them I've always liked, and I think it's not bad for only paying $3 for it. Now, what's next for it? Maybe out of curiosity, I might try Windows 2000 on it someday. I am pretty doubtful Windows 98 will run on here, just because of lack of driver support that these later Inspirons had for Windows 98. So I might try it if I'm brave enough, but I don't have much hope for it. So, once again, Happy New Year, everyone. And until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You may also support me on Patreon if you would like. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off.